A train hijacking in Pakistan's Bolan district has triggered a tense standoff. Rebels in Balochistan province attacked a Peshawar-bound train, taking over 400 passengers hostage, including women and children. Armed men intercepted it in a tunnel near the mountainous terrain of Gudalpur in Piru Kendri. Currently, 155 hostages have been freed and at least 16 rebels have been killed. The BLA says it has allowed women and children and Baloch travelers to disembark, leaving only active duty members of the Pakistani military, police, anti-terrorism forces and inter-service intelligence as hostages. In a statement, the Baloch Liberation Army claimed responsibility for the hostage crisis and said that they had taken hostages from the train, including security forces. More than 30 military personnel have been killed in the attack. Rescue teams and security forces have reached the scene and an operation is underway to track down the militants. Ambulances from Quetta continue to arrive for the injured who are coming from the hijacked Jafar Express train in Mushkaf, Kachi. While the security operations continue, local hospitals have been placed on high alert to provide urgent medical care to the injured. Pakistan Railways have set up an emergency desk at the Peshawar and Quetta railway station as frantic relatives and friends try to get some information about their loved ones on the train. Meanwhile, as per sources, the suicide bombers have held some of the hostage passengers right next to them. The Jafar Express attack terrorists are in touch with the facilitators in Afghanistan. Big developments there coming in at this point of time. Joining us at this point of time is Mr. Mehran Marri, Baloch representative in the UN and EU. Sir, a very good afternoon to you and thank you so much for taking our time and speaking to us on Newsx. How do you then view the developments that are concurrently taking place, sir?
Good morning. I think whatever is taking place is quite expected or was expected according to the sequence of events that's been taking place in Balochistan in the recent years, especially when it comes to the conduct of the Pakistani military and the intelligence agencies, the extrajudicial killings, the enforced disappearances, and the heavy-handedness of the Pakistani military on the Baloch civil population had to culminate in some kind of a reaction. And this is exactly the reaction that we're seeing from the Baloch nation. I would not like to call it a terrorist act. Solely, it's the reaction of the Baloch nation against the tyranny of Islamabad and Punjabi occupation of Balochistan.
Right, so absolutely. Now, of course, there have been multiple such cases in the past since 2023, whether it's at the airports, whether it's at train stations, and now, of course, we're talking about the hijacking incident as well. With that being said, let's now talk about the solutions. What exactly are we looking at, sir?
The solutions were very simple and they were on the table, and it was within the capacity of Islamabad to come out with a solution, but Islamabad chose, probably with the consent of China, to use the heavy-handedness and chose to ignore the ground realities of Balochistan because the occupation of Balochistan was very fruitful for them and their partners in crime. Therefore, they just extended this 75-year illegal occupation. And currently, they're just waking up from a long, fast dream that, oh, suddenly what's happening? This has been our reality for 75 years. Kill and dump, the helicopter bombings, carpet bombings in Balochistan. It's been a proper war for 70 years, but the world has turned a blind eye to it. And suddenly when the Baloch react, then everybody wakes up and pretends that it's a very new event that's taking place. The solution is Pakistan should acknowledge its illegally occupied Balochistan, just the way the world went behind Ukraine to help them against Russia. The world should help Balochistan to get rid of the menace of Pakistani occupation, just the way they're helping other countries in the world. They should help us. If our neighbors choose to ignore us, I appeal to the greater powers, to Donald Trump, to the international powers. We were hoping that China would play a positive role, but unfortunately China has fallen in the trap of Pakistani establishment and is playing along with Islamabad. But we again appeal to all major players in the world to help us get rid of the menace of Pakistani occupation, Punjabi occupation.
Right, so absolutely. Now, of course, you are the Baloch representative in the in the UN and EU as well. Sir, you know, what are some of the ground realities that you want to put forth?
See, I was the representative until they banned me from Switzerland. The Pakistani lobbying with its connivance and the international arm twisting strategies that it has. Because Pakistan does serve a lot of major powers for their dirty work in the region and internationally, especially when it comes to terrorist activities or carrying out any kind of menace around the world. Pakistani soldiers are at the service as long as they pay the right amount. So they have closed doors for people like me to go to international forums and take our case on the international platforms. We've always said there should be a referendum in Balochistan, but no, they have closed doors there. And when there's peaceful protests like Mehran Baloch carried out in Balochistan, ladies going to Islamabad in front of the parliament and asking for the restoration of our dignity and the rights of Balochistan and Baloch people. They were shelled and gassed, and water cannons were used against them in winter. So we have seen the degradation and the disrespect that is being meted out to Baloch at all levels. Therefore, there is no option left for us but to snatch what's ours and get what's ours and retake our stolen dignity, land, and respect.
Right, sir. Of course, you've just spoken about stolen dignity, respect. Now, of course, considering the fact that Balochistan is a very mineral-rich, resource-rich, you know, it's very resource-rich, mineral-rich, considering the fact, and of course, you've spoken about dignity. Now, as far as internationally is concerned, what is that international message that you want to put forth, sir?
International message is very clear. I think Donald Trump is a man with a head on his shoulders who thinks very straight. It's not like the previous American administrations. As he was striking mineral deals with Ukraine, we want Donald Trump to strike a mineral deal with Balochistan. Get rid of Pakistan. As he said, we say this war was started by Pakistan and funded by international powers, including the US. We want them to stop funding Pakistan's war in Balochistan and talk directly to the Baloch. And we can get our sovereignty, we can get our country back, and international powers can negotiate with us the terms and conditions of regaining our dignity, as you put it, as I put it back.
All right, sir. With that, I'd like to thank you for joining us on the broadcast, putting your perspectives forward, sir. We're going to leave it there and shift our focus to some more news that we're tracking on the broadcast. Now, Prime Minister Narendra Modi extended